Joel Embiid was once at the height of the game. He was the lead of a promising young core, the face of a franchise, an MVP, and some even argued that he was a top 3 player in the NBA. But after the Sixers have given him chance after chance, his team is now in the lottery this season, and Philly is currently at the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference. Ever since the 22-23 season, the Sixers' rank has been slowly but surely decreasing every year. Watching the destruction of the process makes you wonder what happened. Today we'll be discussing the downfall of Joel Embiid and his Sixers. Stage 1. The formation. In the 2013-14 season, the Sixers finished with the second worst record in the NBA, just behind the Milwaukee Bucks at 15 wins to 67 losses. But, luckily for the Sixers, they earned the 3rd pick, which, after careful consideration, they decided to select a player that could lead a franchise, the Cameroonian himself, Joel Embiid. Immediately after his drafting, he got his first major injury of his career with a navicular fracture, along with many surgeries and lots of rehab. After his drafting in 2014, it would take him almost 2 years for him to play his first NBA game in the 2016-17 season, but he was once again injured before he could finish the season with just 31 games played in his rookie season. This season, the Sixers landed the first overall pick, and made a pick who will end up playing a critical role in this story, none other than Ben Simmons. The next season, Philly landed the number 1 pick again and picked up Markelle Fultz. Stage 2. The build-up. After many years living in the lottery, the 76ers went from being the 14th seed in the 16-17 season to jumping all the way to the 3rd seed in just the next season. This was obviously very impressive how quick their turnaround was, especially with a young dynamic duo in a sophomore Joel and a rookie Ben after he was sidelined his original rookie season. This year, Joel had a concussion and an orbital bone fracture towards the end of the season, meaning he would miss the last few games of the regular season and the first 2 playoff games. After making a playoff berth in that season, they made it to the conference finals for the first time with this core. Seeing as this team was so young, the possibilities seemed endless at the time, starting what was known as the process. Stage 3. The process. The next season, the crew had an almost identical record, but they picked up a few key pieces such as Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, adding much more star power to the team. With this new talent, they quickly advanced through the playoffs and moved on to the conference finals, and this time they faced the eventual champions in the Toronto Raptors. Needless to say, the Sixers lost at the last second in Game 7.
Here if you're Philly. It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Honestly, at this point in time, the Sixers felt like they were at their peak. And while they would get arguably close to this caliber of team, they would never surpass what this group once was. The following season, they chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, and with Joel and Ben getting better and better, it seemed like a championship was in their near future. But the following year, the team got swept in the first round by the Boston Celtics, but soon after, in the following draft, they would pick up an eventual star in Tyrese Maxey with the 21st pick, and on the surface, it seemed like this team would be able to get it done soon. Stage 4. The decline. With this stellar team, it seemed like they could accomplish it this year, or at least get close, but one fateful game in the playoffs changed one player's career and the trajectory of the whole team.
Backing his way in, spins on Gallinari, gives it up, oh, he was right there, and a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault.
Yep, Ben Simmons, a 6'10" finishing menace, passed the ball over taking a layup on 6-foot Trae Young in fear of free throws in a Game 7. Needless to say, this was the breaking point for Ben after single-handedly throwing away a season. After being ridiculed by everyone online and even by teammates and coaching staff, Ben refused to show up to summer camp. This caused a stir for the Sixers as they realized they would eventually have to dump him for whatever they could get for him, as he was given a monstrous contract and would not be playing for them. As it just so happened, James Harden also had a falling out with the staff at Brooklyn Nets, which means that Philly and Brooklyn would trade Ben and James for one another, thinking that this would solve both their issues. It didn't. Once again, the following season, they made it to the Eastern Conference, but they were bested by their second-tier option over Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler. Seeing as Philly got beat by a team deemed so much worse than they were supposed to be, again, many started to ridicule the team even more at this time. But even more telling, two distinct patterns began to emerge. The first is that Joel Embiid could not stay healthy for his life. While it's easy to blame Joel for the team's misfortune, I want to point out that the injuries are awful and take a toll on a person, and if he could be healthy, he obviously would pick that any day of the week. But it is undeniable that a large reason for the team's lack of success would be their over-reliance on Joel, forcing him to overwork his body. The second is the Sixers could not get past the conference finals, despite being deemed as impeccable at the time, slowly but surely showing that these expectations were too high for this team in general. The following year, despite the doubts by many fans, Joel was seen as a top 3 player in the world, and after a season of crying on Twitter, he finally received his MVP in the 22-23 season. Jokes aside, he definitely worked hard for this award, and it was an amazing accomplishment for him and his career. Soon after, in the playoffs, the team got to the second round, losing to the Celtics in 7. This is also the season that the Sixers had decided to fire coach Doc Rivers. This move was seen by many to appease Joel, as at this point it felt like the lack of success could be blamed on him, as he was also to blame for losing that prior 3-1 lead to Atlanta, and honestly he had a reputation for blowing those type of leads in the playoffs. That next season they hired Nick Nurse and finished 7th in the East. And naturally, as you would expect, the Knicks bounced them out in the first round. That offseason, the Sixers believed that just one more star would change everything for the team and lead them over the hump. They snatched Paul George in free agency and overpaid him, expecting to win this season and live with his contract in future years. This would end up a terrible plan, since both Paul and Embiid were hurt for most of the season, meaning their record would slip to the 13th seed, with essentially only Maxey playing for the Sixers in terms of star power. At this point in time, the Sixers have many tough decisions to make, chief among them being what to do with Joel. At this point, the process has been in effect for almost the length of this man's career, so maybe it's time for a change. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. Anyways, have a great day and see you guys next time.